Yeah, I want to give you something else, another twist. And this is the twist that I don't know when it's going to happen, but Iran will be attacked. There's no doubt about it, and I'll give you the straight reason why. It's not. I know the nuclear program is really they're getting weapons, but that's not the reason they're going to be attacked. They're going to be attacked is because they're oil bourse. They have an oil market, and it does not use the dollar. So that causes problems for the dollar's strength in its use as a world reserve currency. But Iran is not the only one attacking the dollar. Pretty much everybody is, well, not everybody, but Russia's no longer using it between exchange between themselves and China. China's not using it in a lot of exchange between other countries, and even all between Asian countries. There's been new agreements not to use the dollar. But the dollar is held up by oil trade. All countries use oil. So if the oil is what you trade in oil, if you trade oil in dollars, all countries have to have dollar reserves in order to buy oil. And so Iran is like, forget about that, and they're a major oil producer, and actually they're the number 2 natural gas producer. So Russia's number 1, but size-wise and country size, the size of the country, yeah, you think about it, they're really number 1 because Russia's bigger, a little bit bigger natural gas, but considering the size of Iran compared to Russia, Iran's got a hell of a lot of natural gas. But I want to point something else too about this nuclear program. And I know it's not over. The war's not going to be. I knew this. I knew Saddam Hussein was attacked for switching to the euro, or maybe Saddam Hussein was dead and that was his double, and it was his sons that switched to the euro. Because I'm beginning to wonder why that was the policy. I'm not. I know a lot of different things that go on behind the scenes, and they're not all conspiracy theories. They're really facts all the way. Iran will be attacked because they're a threat to the strength of the dollar, basically, world reserve currency. But the thing is with Iran, with the nuclear program, that really is for weapons of mass destruction. There's no, that part is correct. As far as them being a threat with that, probably not. Probably not. But the reason you could say ironclad that it is for weapons of mass destruction is, actually I think this is stupid of Iran to even do this because it's not worth it. But, if I was Iran, I'd be like playing it cool. I would be. I'd be like, I wouldn't even bother with it. Because you could probably get, for all the price of all these sanctions and everything else and whatever else is going on, it's not worth it. But, like if they used thorium reactors, first off, they'd be cheaper, a lot safer. They're one of their big trading partners. India has a lot of thorium. Nobody uses thorium practically. Chinese are starting to use it. It's been around since the 60s. You know why nobody uses thorium reactors? It's because it doesn't make weapons-grade plutonium. It's a lot safer. You have less I don't know everything about it, but it's a lot safer. It's cheaper. There's lots of thorium in the world. I think Australia has a lot of thorium. I think the U.S. has a lot of thorium even. But I think it's Australia and India that has the most. Like, Iran hardly has uranium. So it's... Yet they got 100 years worth of natural gas, and they got it's bullshit that they're doing this nuclear program for electricity. They're full of shit there too. But quite obviously, they're not going after Iran because of the nuclear program. It's because of they got the oil bourse, and I knew this way back. 2007, I think that's when he's talking about this oil bourse, and it's like you think every year since then there was going to be a war because they're establishing an oil bourse. Now, if Dick Cheney and his people were all, and McCain and that crowd was all running things, we almost had a war with Iran in 2007 over the oil bourse. That's what it is. Everybody, who the hell are they kidding, right? Now, in the case of Obama, I know he's got Valerie Jarrett around him because she's I don't know, she was raised in Iran or something. She has a lot of control of who sees him, but that isn't the whole deal that's going on. But there's a lot of scuttlebutt talk again this year, and it was actually in Veterans Today magazine, I think it was called, about, if they can't reach some other type of agreement with, forcing Iran's hand. Actually, it's this thing with the it definitely isn't over the nuclear program. It's over the dollar and the oil bourse. They're trying. If I think they'd let them have nukes if they had to, if they were trading in dollars, oil in dollars. They wouldn't even care. They'd be like our ally again or some shit. I mean, that's really what it'd be doing. I mean, what are they kidding? But they're probably going to attack them this year. They said last year, but it almost happened last year. Netanyahu he almost did it, man. So that's how the whole picture can change with commodities in general. It can go right through the roof. That's going to cost the United States, they say, an estimated $1.8 trillion. Trillion. That's what some of the liberals say. They're anti-war. But that's, I don't know if so. Maybe that's a high number. But you know what? It probably would. Because, if you look at the money that was spent even in Iraq, and go look up the Iraq American embassy that's in Iraq, in Baghdad. That damn thing has probably cost more than the Pope's house. You know what I mean? That thing is like ridiculous. It's like the Palace of Versailles and the Vatican all rolled into one, but not quite as fancy. It's expensive. So they'll go in there because there's like sweet contracts for people making a lot of money. So the military gets screwed up. Military, like my cousin, he was not exactly in that. I was around at Desert Storm time, but he was in Iraq later, and he's getting paid $20,000 a year to be a sniper, and you got contractors over there sitting on their ass in air conditioning and getting like $200-something a year, right? And so it gets the brunt of that, the American military, of course. But it's probably this, if this happens, gold is going to go ballistic. Everything, oil is going to go ballistic. And the dollar is going to tank. It's going to take a lot of it's going to put a lot of pressure on the dollar. They know this. That's why they don't want to do it. In other words, if the United States was in strong enough position economically, even the Obama administration would have done it already for sure. But it's probably coming up because they got no choice. Because it's like whittling away at the power of the United States, because Iran doesn't trade oil in dollars, and they do a hell of a lot of oil trade. Now, I just want to comment a little bit about some of the stories you might hear about miners finding all kinds of metals and all this kind of stuff. Beware of those stories, because when you find metals and you find oil and all this kind of crap, it takes a long time to get it out of the ground. So, at low prices with commodities, when they get really low, it depends on how, it doesn't mean they're going to stay low forever. Because they got to get, even right now, but with operating costs higher because of higher fuel prices, even though oil is going down a little bit, they're still a lot higher than they were a few years ago. They're not going to look for more stuff. And the ore is getting, but, you can't go by the fundamentals too much, because fundamentals take a long time to play out. What can change the scenario very fast is tensions in the Middle East. And even the ones that are like saying gold is going to go down and gold is not that good, they all say that, Bernanke slipping up or tensions in the Middle East will change that scenario in 2 seconds flat. And that's usually what happens. The picture seems to change one way or to the other. So that's really what's going to happen. And, the real reason the United States is, the West is going after Iran, we all know the real reason. It's because of the oil bourse. They're not trading oil in dollars. That's why they're doing it. And it isn't over the nuclear program. But Iran is not doing his nuclear program for electricity. I mean, come on. That's the other. I mean, you could say whatever, but they're not doing it for electricity. They're doing it for nukes, man. That's what everybody's got that type. Nobody uses thorium pretty much because they want the nuclear materials for bombs. That's why they don't use thorium, even though it's cheaper and safer. So, if Iran wanted to totally avoid the freaking problem, but I think they're stupid lunkheads, to tell you the truth. I would never have played it that way. I'd been like, okay, no nukes. We'll think of some other we'll build lasers. Ain't the hell with it, Oh, we'll arm the population. Well, they won't arm the population because they don't really have freedom over there too much, you know what I mean? It's just like every other place that supposedly is anti-Western. They're not very free over there anyway, just like North Korea. Yeah, we'll just arm the population. They ain't gonna arm the population because they're not free. Your West, it's free. It's the only place, the United States. That's it, man. Because we're armed. That's the only thing there is to it. That's why this place ain't getting conquered. We're armed.